Hello there, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another RebelScum.com video review. And today, we are doing our overall reaction. We've had some time to sit on it. We've had some time to do some self-reflection. We got a lot of feedback from our content. We've seen a lot of feedback on other people's content about the Halcyon, the Galactic Starcruiser experience at Disney World Resort. And some of the feedback was good, some of the feedback was very positive, some of the feedback still had a lot of concerns. And
the number one question that we've gotten is, how much is our experience tainted by the fact that we got to do it for free?
Right.
And that's a question that we're going to answer in today's video.
Hopefully, by the end of the video, either you feel much better about it, you feel much better about our experience, and maybe your perception of the way we looked and our retelling of this experience, because we totally get it. The price tag is a big price tag. It is by no means a cheap price tag.
Before we get into pricing or any of that, there's one major problem with the Galactic Starcruiser.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest problem that they're going to have to overcome, in my opinion, is there is no possible way to show the immersion and the experience that you'll actually get to experience.
Right.
And that's the selling point.
Right.
They could show you all of the highlights. Oh, look at this cool stuff. Look at this. Look at that. Check out the lightsaber training.
And you can rewatch all the content that we have already available for you to watch here on RebelScum.com or on our YouTube channel until you're blue in the face. And that still may not be able to convey how fully immersed you can be when you do this experience, if you do this experience.
So I'm not sure when this video will come out, but we have partnered with a friend of ours locally who just got back. He was one of the first passengers paid on the Starcruiser, and he's going to be sharing his experience and reactions here on RebelScum.com as well.
Passengers who paid to get on, not a passenger who was paid to experience it.
Right.
Just so there's no confusion out there, because
they paid for their passage.
Right. Where, admittedly, all we had to do was pay to get there. Now, that's not to say that I feel as though that probably affected my opinion on it one way or the other, because honestly, I want to go back. I'm already saving up for my next passage to go on board.
That's the number one thing.
It's gonna be a little bit of savings, I agree, because yeah, that price point is a little high, but
let's go ahead and talk about the price point.
There's a lot you get out of that price point. Okay.
So here's the price points as they break down on the website. If you just Google Galactic Starcruiser
and then go to the Disney page from there and actually look at the pricing to get aboard, this is what we pulled up. So
it says 2 guests per cabin, $1,209 per guest per night. So you're looking at 2 nights, which is equal to $4,809.
Right.
I mean, that math doesn't exactly add up.
No, it's a little bit less if you just pay the $4,809. So let's do some quick math on that. So for 2 guests, it's
$1,209
times 2. So that would be $4,836 if you do some quick maths there, or you can just pay a flat fee of $4,809. The more guests you add,
the better the value is.
The better the value is, and the more worth it is.
So if you go up to 3 guests per cabin, which they have sub-listed as 2 adults and 1 child,
right,
it's $889 per guest per night, or $5,299.
So that's $889 times 3 times 2, which is $5,334. So you're not saving a ton more there, but you're still saving significantly more.
Well, instead of paying $1,200 a person, you're paying just under $900 a person.
Right, and or you're paying a little bit less if you just pay that fee of $5,299.
Right.
Right.
The last option that they have listed available right this second is 4 guests per cabin. That's 3 adults and 1 child, $749 a night.
Right. So that's $749 times 4, right?
Times 4. Times 2.
Times 2 is $5,992. So it's actually a little bit more if you were to pay the flat fee of $59.99.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. I wonder if they realize that, because usually it's meant to be just a little bit less.
Yeah.
So watch out for that 4 guests one. It looks like you can pay just a little bit less. I mean, not much less. It's a difference of $7, but I mean that's still $7 is $7.
So the point is, and I have to apologize to everybody that's watching, because we, as soon as we got there, got caught. Like, we were there to work. We were there to
Film. Yeah.
and find out if the price tag is worth it for everybody that's thinking about going. Problem is, we immediately got caught up. Within half an hour, we were, I'm not going to speak for Bobby, but I was all in.
No, I was pretty excited myself.
And
yeah.
So the plan was, I wanted to take notes of each experience that we had. And you got to keep in mind, I'm looking at this through the lens of being a father with 3 daughters, and I've been married for, 16 years.
Which, by the way, looking at going over those price points we just discussed, does not include a family of 5.
Right.
So there's also that.
So there's questions to be asked about that. Like, okay, well, what do you count as a child? Is a child 12 and under, or is a child 12 to 16? Where do they cut off for adults? There's a lot of questions about that. So as we're going through these different experiences, I was in my phone taking notes of, okay, I would have happily paid. Keep in mind, we're talking about Disney prices, which is going to be inflated and it's going to be expensive because
it's Disney.
The immersion.
Yep.
Just for Bobby and I think I probably would have been happy paying about $7,200. And let's talk about the experiences that we had, because it's not all on the videos.
Right.
So when we first get there, it's like a red carpet cruise ship kind of entrance. You right. Get there from the pod. The pod opens up, and
there's Halcyon staff standing there. They're clapping, they're greeting you. They all have smiles. They're all happy for you to be there.
It reminds me of like getting off a plane in Hawaii. Not that I've ever been to Hawaii, but I watch a lot of TV. And
so the TV, at least for
TV
those
version.
of us who might have Hawaii viewers who have flown to Hawaii and are like, yeah, it's nothing like that. The TV appearance of flying to Hawaii,
where everybody's greeting you. Here's your lei, and so on and so forth.
They definitely didn't give us a lei or anything.
No,
that would have been cool though.
So we walk in. They kind of said there's lots of crew members there.
Yes,
and they immediately are like, oh, picking this off a group at a time, like, let me show you your cabin. Let's get your stuff put away. There's this. They're giving us a little tour as we go. They take us to the cabin. They show us how to work the was it D3?
Oh yes, the
droid in
the comm panel for D3, which is the main protocol droid aboard the Halcyon. Yeah.
And this is another part where I screwed up, and this is where I want these kind of videos to help everybody out. I didn't realize until the second day how much of the story was being told through D3.
Right.
So there's all kinds of there's things on the comm panel that are like submissions, where we joined the First Order, and a First Order comm channel kind of took over that's on day 2, but kind of took over the wall panel, and they were telling us, hey, we need you to trick D3 for us into lowering these shields and doing this and that.
Yep.
So
there's a lot of there's story elements into that aside from it just being a virtual assistant or you being able to just pick up the phone and call the front desk for any kind of service you may need. Before we get too much into more of the details, I want to go ahead and eliminate one of the other impressions a lot of people have. And this is something I've told many people since we've been back. And
we can't eliminate anything. It's just a matter of addressing people's concerns.
I just first and foremost, one of the concerns is, well, why am I paying this price for just a Star Wars hotel? That's not what that is. A hotel on Disney property with a Star Wars sticker slapped on the front. If that's what you think this is, it isn't that whatsoever. This is a full immersive experience. This is not an experience that you're paying for to just simply sleep in a Disney hotel and then just, spend a week at the park and go to XYZ parks or XYZ parts of whatever parks. This is not the kind of trip for that. This is like
if a resort in the actual park had a baby.
Right. If you're going for the experience, you're taking the family out on a vacation to get away, to do Disney because you guys have never done Disney before and you want to experience the parks, this is the kind of trip you're going for, then this is not the experience for you. This is not what this is for. This is definitely not a vacation either. Even if you were not there to work like we were.
It's an adventure. It's not. Now, that being said, within half an hour of being there, I wasn't thinking about bills. I wasn't thinking about what was going on here at the store. I wasn't thinking about... all that I was thinking about was what was going on in front of me and how I wish that my kids were there with me.
Same. Right. That's also to be stated. There were, aside from the other media outlets, there were other families on board. And honestly, Josh and I were both a little jealous that we weren't able to take our families with us. And that's the other reason why we want to go back is because we want to take our families and allow them to experience that which we've experienced, aside from experiencing some of the other things we didn't get to do while we were on board. Because with the overall story that's happening on board the Halcyon, which we'll get to here in a little bit, you can't actually experience all facets of the actual story that's happening on one trip.
Can't do it.
You can't do the whole thing.
We didn't even know this while we were there. So there's First Order or Resistance.
And then there's also like a tertiary where you're doing, it's called
like Scoundrel.
You're doing some scoundrel stuff or some smugglers.
Basically sequel era Scum and Villainy.
Right. And each story at some point, while the major story elements everybody gets, thank you. And there's the stuff happening in front of everybody on the second day. There are little divergences. Your Resistance characters are doing something on the bridge, setting up some kind of comm stuff for some, Rey and Chewie to come in and do some stuff. And then later on as the First Order, you're going on and you're undoing all of that and trying to make contact with the First Order and trying to get Kylo over to the ship. And then scoundrels are sneaking around, stealing coaxium and stuff. Playing both sides. So there's different story elements happening at the same time, little sub-story elements that are happening at the same time that are pieces to the overall picture, and you still get basically the full story by picking one or the other, but by picking one or the other, you're experiencing the story from a slightly different perspective every single time, and you cannot do all three perspectives on one trip.
That being said, I've spoken to a couple other people that have gone, that have paid their way to go, and even the people that chose to join the First Order, their experiences are even different than what we had.
Really? I did not know.
To some extent.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes into that experience. So let's circle back to the beginning, back when we were getting on, and the wow we saw and the immediate immersion we got as soon as we got on board. And it needs to be stated that part of the price here is just like the Galaxy's Edge employees, the Halcyon Starcruiser employees are also paid actors. Every single one of them is an actor aside from a service person.
Let's go back a little bit. On the Halcyon, on the Starcruiser, it's much more like they are actors.
Right.
In Galaxy's Edge, they are cast members that were trained to act.
Right.
A lot of the best way I've heard it described is it's a 50-hour dinner show.
Yeah.
Where they are working. Like I was walking around at 11:30 at night and they were still on point. You cannot get them to break character. We tried.
Here I'm with some of our lovely helpers on the Halcyon. So you are, and where are you from?
So my name is Casey, part of the passenger services crew. I'm from Bestman.
Wonderful. And have you touched any of the beautiful big creatures that make the Savannah gas? Have you gotten up close to one of those yet?
So I haven't myself. My family actually runs a mining company that mines Tabana gas itself. But I try not to get involved with all of that dirty work.
So what brings you to the Halcyon?
So as it happens, I came to find out a few months ago that my family actually started helping the First Order mine Tabana gas.
Okay.
And I'm not really on that side of things, so I decided to leave the inheritance behind, start a new journey here on the Halcyon.
What's wrong with the First Order?
We got a resistance spy over here.
You know, the First Order, they have an interesting grip on the galaxy here these days, and I don't like to be involved with that sort of authoritarian, so.
And you are, and where are you from?
My name is Sierra. I'm here as the passenger service crew. I'm from the planet Naboo.
Another Nabooian.
Yes.
There's a lot
of people from Naboo.
Yes.
A lot of Naboo.
It got a little overcrowded in our city, so we kind of just wanted to take a new leap of faith and just kind of jump on the ship. And obviously, the Halcyon is one of the best crews to work with, so why not join a new journey?
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
What's it like working on the Halcyon? Is it awesome?
Oh, it's incredible.
It looks pretty fun.
It's hard to explain, but looking at all the beautiful scenery aside, I think the best part about working here on the Halcyon truly is the crew. We've really developed a familial bond with each other, and our founder Shug always said that a ship is as strong as its bond. And that's something you can feel in the energy of the crew around. We truly all love and care for each other like a family. I think that's what it's like.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy your journey.
The main cast, like the captain and Lieutenant Croy and
Lieutenant Croy, the events director, the singer, her manager, the other music artist that ends up joining them, the DJ,
they are
resistance spy.
They are hardcore guys. They are in full makeup.
Some of them
day.
in full costume, the troopers in full armor.
Yep.
I didn't really see the troopers change at all. I mean, it's probably easier to rotate out the ones that are in full costume over the characters who just have likeness, right?
So we saw 2 at a time.
Right.
It's not until the very end that you see all of them. So there is, from what I understand, there is 6 troopers.
Right. On
both days.
On board. And so for those guys...
But you only see 2 at a time until the end.
It's possible they're rotated out. It's possible the Rhodian character, the DJ, gets rotated out.
Right.
It's very likely that they have multiple costumes for her as well. But for the characters such as Gaia, which I'm sure you'll see in a lot of content, that was the same actress we saw every time playing Gaia. And she was in full costume both days. Well, we didn't see her until the end of the day on the first day, and then she was there all day the second day.
Right.
But that entire time she was in full makeup,
I did see her earlier in the day, the first day. Yeah, remember? Because we were in the gift shop and she walked by and I was like, I wonder if that's the singer.
Oh, that's right, she did. But then there's the captain.
The point of all of that, guys, is there is a lot of money that is being paid out to these very talented people. Right. And back to what I said at the beginning of the video, unless you actually experience that, you're not going to see that value.
Right.
I don't want this to come off like we're trying to by no means are we trying to appease Disney. Our loyalty is to our viewers and the collectors and all of that. But I can't help but say that Disney knocked it out of the park with this.
It was very awesome.
And their overhead
is incredibly high.
is crazy.
Yeah.
You can't pull something like this off without. There's probably hundreds of people there that we never see.
Mm-hmm.
Kitchen staff,
Yep.
Technicians, engineers,
Cleaning staff.
even the cleaning staff. You catch them in the hallways in the mornings, going and cleaning up the cabins,
Right.
and they are perfectly in character.
As well, right? They're in full
And
uniform.
they're
they have
happy to
some
be
character.
there. It's not like a Motel 6 where the housekeepers.
Just show up at one point during the day and then go home. These guys
No,
are there
they
for
all-
the full-time, full experience
So
in character.
let's talk about the food.
Oh my gosh, the food.
So
Food was
I would have happily paid $100 a person per meal,
Right.
and that's including like the breakfast buffet.
Which breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just like as if you were on an actual cruise experience, which admittedly you can pay less for a longer trip. Yes. It's all you can eat.
You're not going to get food at that caliber though.
Right. It's all you can eat. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'm talking, and you can refer to some of the previous videos or photos we posted, even a lot of the photos Disney has posted or other content creators. Please check out some of them as well. It is very, very professional, very high caliber of presentation. I mean, I'm talking like your Gordon Ramsay style of presentation, and it's all really good.
So the first thing I think of when I'm trying to describe our experience with the meals is like, you can make the comparison to a cruise ship, but I can't eat mayonnaise, anything that has mayonnaise in it, and I am dramatically allergic to mushrooms. They gave us a questionnaire at the beginning of the trip that we filled out before we even flew to Florida. We filled that out, and they immediately knew, oh, hey, just so you know, here, like this, Josh, this has mushrooms in it. Please don't eat it. Here's some other options. And even their other options, somebody that we traveled with, he's gluten-free. Those other options are even, I would argue, as good, if not better, than the options that they prepared for everybody. Mm-hmm. And they are individually made. Nothing tasted or felt as if it was processed or pre-made and frozen, or it felt like everything was being made within minutes of it being served to us.
I'll tell you, all this food that's in front of us right now took about 3 years to develop.
3 years.
Over 3 years to develop, correct.
Wow.
As you were there, you saw that for breakfast and lunch we had different options for both days.
Yes.
And dinners were also very different in story and setting, presentations and flavors. So that took a lot of research, a lot of development, a lot of tasting. Okay, that was part of the job as well. But we think we come up with some of the best possible story through food for this experience.
Now, I've looked at a lot of pictures from people that have gone since we've been. Mm-hmm. There's even other food options.
Oh, that we didn't get?
We did not get to see the full menu.
Oh, okay.
My biggest concern, honestly, towards the end was, oh my goodness, this was so amazing. I really hope that they didn't like treat us special.
In comparison to somebody who's gonna pay to go.
Right.
Right.
And it seems like that's not the case.
Right. And you would hope not, especially for somebody footing the full bill, that they would be treated at least the same, if not better, than us media guests who were privileged to go. And it definitely was a privilege to go. And I am by no means trying to undersell that fact.
It's very luxurious.
It's very nice, but that's also part of the setting it's in. So aside from it being a full immersive experience, the events that take place aboard the Halcyon Starcruiser are canonical. You are part of a canonical story that is happening in front of you, that you can reach out and touch, that you can fully interact with while you were there. And it plays into the events of Galaxy's Edge, which is another big part of the value of this. And
oh my goodness, man.
That everything you do on Galaxy's Edge, whether that's Smuggler's Run and or
Rise of the
Resistance, or going to Olga's Cantina, or going into the Saber, building a Saber, going to the Droid Depot, all of that is also canon.
Every single experience
and plays into what happens on the Starcruiser.
Every single experience at Batu at Galaxy's Edge is dramatically enhanced.
Right.
Because there's so... If you haven't been on the Starcruiser, which I'm assuming at this point almost everybody has not, but you have been to Galaxy's Edge. We've been, I think, 4 times, or I've been
You've been
4 times.
This was my 2nd time.
I will tell you right now, all honesty, I was getting a little bored with Galaxy's Edge.
Prior to this experience.
But this experience enhances it so much.
Right.
There's stuff on your data pad that they give you on the Starcruiser that makes Galaxy's Edge so much better and so much more in depth. And even like outside the Droid Depot, on your data pad, you can go to your tools and go to hack. And you can hack all of those droids that are outside the Droid Depot, and you can get them to dance around or start beeping. You can do the same thing with any of the life-size ships that are there.
Yep, you can hack the A-Wing, you can hack the X-Wing, you can hack the gonk droids and stuff.
Any of the antennas, you can tune those, and you can pick up
transmissions.
Transmissions from whatever party you're trying to listen in on.
You can hack the moisture evaporator and get it to beep and whir and stuff. There's a lot more interaction by using the data pad that they give you, and in some cases that you need to do to progress some of the story elements that you're doing as a part of the Halcyon. And depending on which side you pick, if you pick First Order, you got to go sneak into the Resistance base and hack some stuff. Or, if you're, I'm sure if you're Resistance, you got to sneak over to the TIE Echelon and hack that and probably steal some clearance codes or something from it. There's just so much more flavor to Galaxy's Edge rather than what you get, which is already an awesome and amazing and immersive experience. But this just adds so much to it and brings those flavors of the experience on Galaxy's Edge out. So
I was pretty torn. So you go to Batu on day 2.
Right.
We got up early. We got the first transit down to Batu,
which puts us there around 9 o'clock.
Around 9 o'clock.
So roughly you have from about 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. to do Galaxy's Edge. And if you set some of because you're not going to have reservations for absolutely everything on Galaxy's Edge with this experience, which is something I kind of wish that you did have, at least for all the major stuff. But you do get preferential treatment for some of the things on there. So before I start getting to that, let's talk about some of the other amenities as well.
We got off. So what I was trying to say is, I was torn because I really wanted to go back to the Starcruiser to progress the story there.
Sure.
But at the same time, the experience is so highlighted and enhanced.
Right.
While you're there with the data pad, you don't want to leave.
Right. And the same thing with as if you're going to go maybe traverse the park a little bit and go to Hollywood Studios outside of Galaxy's Edge. The minute we thought about stepping out and maybe going to Tower of Terror or something else,
Nah.
we immediately wanted to go back in because we had other stuff going on as
I
part
think
of the
that's-
story element.
I told you that day, man. I think they're going to have a problem with that.
Right.
I think they're going to have a problem with people not wanting to leave Batu. Like, at some point, this is just my humble opinion, but at some point, they're going to have to make that place bigger, just like Universal did with Harry Potter Land.
World,
Yeah. They're going to have to add, they're going to have to continue to add to it. And if they have to take out some of the old,
attractions.
the old, yeah. I mean,
I could see that possibly happening. Now, that's not us saying, hey, we want them to gut some of the other attractions and that everybody else might know and love. But, I mean, that could possibly happen at some point later on down the road, which, I mean, it's happening at Universal all the time with some of the older attractions. They've been gutting and taking out some of the older stuff that aren't quite bringing people in. But, Harry Potter's bringing people in all the time. And Star Wars is bringing more and more people into Disney all the time. So part of the awesome experience is the amenities. So we were talking about how all your food and drink is free. Well, there's a little bit more to that outside of just your regular meals, right? With the exception of alcoholic beverages. While you're on board the Halcyon, there are complimentary bottles of water, and those are the same Galaxy's Edge bottles of water of Dasani that you would get down there. So, say you're thirsty, need a drink. Hey, can I get a bottle of water? Yeah, here you go. Do you like blue milk and the green milk that you tried on Galaxy's Edge? Wonderful. You can drink as much of that stuff as you like at any point while you're on board the Halcyon. It is free. If you want a Coke, it's free. If you're hungry outside of meal times and you're hanging out at the lounge, you can walk in.
There's always snacks out.
You can walk in and order
the
food that you may have tried at lunch, perhaps, and it's free. There's snacks in the atrium. Now, more to that added benefit of experiencing Galaxy's Edge through the Starcruiser, we didn't even talk about when you get to Galaxy's Edge. So first things first, you're shuttled from the Starcruiser down to Galaxy's Edge. And you don't see the light of day, you don't see any other aspects of Florida in between the Starcruiser and Galaxy's Edge because they want to keep that immersion. They want to keep you ingrained in the Star Wars universe.
Even just the transport that we take, even that transport is fully entrenched within the story.
At some point, the droid operating the transport says, hey, let's tune into DJ Rex's radio feed, and he plays music from Olga's Cantina while you're on the way or on the way back from Galaxy's Edge.
And there's a Gaia song playing at one point.
Yeah. And then as soon as you land, you're greeted by more Halcyon reps who give you the breakdown of what you can experience at Galaxy's Edge in case it is your first time. But not only that, you're greeted in a rest area for Halcyon reps Halcyon passengers only. So what do you get while you're in that waiting area? Well, you get cold towels at any point throughout the day. That's free. Water bottles from any point throughout the day. That's free. You can bring any purchases you've made at the park back over there, and they can either take it back to your cabin or they can hold it there for you until you're ready to leave.
Yep.
Again, it's a full rest area.
I mean, we're coming into this from the collector standpoint, so of course we were going to buy all kinds of cool stuff while we were there.
Because we're also collectors, just like you guys are.
And the rest area for Halcyon passengers was very centrally located. It's right over by the
high echelon,
the first order area. Yeah. So we were buying stuff, and instead of carrying these bags around,
we just walked it back over there. Yeah. Hey, this is ours. Can you hold on to it for us? Yeah, no problem. And then
I just sent everything back to the cabin.
And when we were ready to go, well, we didn't have to worry about carrying our stuff back, except for some of the things we got in between those times when we were ready to leave, and we grabbed it on our way out. And you're able to go back to that rest area anytime. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how do they identify you as a passenger? Well, on your way, before you even get on transport to be taken to Batu, you're given an exclusive Disney pin that has the Halcyon logo on there.
Extremely limited pins.
And you only get one per person. One per person. You have to wear it while you're on Galaxy's Edge so that the Halcyon members can identify you. While you do have a special Disney band that is branded to the experience itself, they identify you via the pin. So
Right.
what does that pin do for you? Well, there's going to be Halcyon members on Galaxy's Edge, on Batu, aside from the rest area, to help you get access to certain different things. Some of those things include the ride. So for Smuggler's Run, because the wait isn't as ridiculously long as with Rise of Resistance, you just boop your little band there and you get to, walk up the Lightning Pass line. You're on the Smuggler's Run Falcon ride pretty quickly. And again, the events that happen on the Smuggler's Run Falcon ride are both canon and they do impact what happens on the overall story to
That's
the
right.
Halcyon.
That's right.
Now,
How about the fact that when you walk in, if there's anybody in the area, Hondo,
when
while
you
he's
get
talking,
when you get into the cockpit, will say, "Hey, I noticed we have some Halcyon passengers on board as well," which is very cool. You get a little bit of acknowledgement from the characters in the ride. Of course, it's pre-recorded, but hey, it's still very cool and adds to your experience just a little bit. Now, I did mention that it's a super long wait to get onto the Rise of Resistance ride. So what do they do for you there? Do you just boop your Lightning Pass and wait in the Lightning Pass line? Not at all. They have a Halcyon service rep there waiting for you. And if you walk up
at all times
throughout the entire day, standing in the sun at Galaxy's Edge, waiting for you, and you walk up, they see your pin, they say, "Hey, are you ready to do Rise of Resistance?" Which is part of one of your missions, depending on it's part of one of your missions regardless of who you side with, to do Rise of Resistance. But you walk up to that person, they will take you through the Disney employee doors and park you at the front of the line. There is no wait for Halcyon members.
Literally zero wait.
Zero wait to get onto Rise of Resistance, which that day...
It was pretty busy.
It was
the beginning of
busy.
spring break, and
when we went and looked, it was
135 minutes.
No, it was 160 minutes for after we got off and walked by, because we wanted to go check out Star Tours at the very least, because you got to do Star Tours anyway. It should, my opinion, it should be a part of Galaxy's Edge. That's just my 2 cents on that.
I think that it will be.
At some point,
once they start expanding, I think it will be.
They might remodel it, the outside of it just a little bit. Maybe keep the AT at least. Maybe change the Ewok village just a little bit to resemble Galaxy's Edge a little bit more. Who knows? I'm not saying it should change, but I think it still should be a part of Galaxy's Edge regardless. Anyway, not to get sidetracked. Yeah, it was nearly a 3-hour wait when we had gotten off. And again, they as a member, as an added bit of value outside of just going to Galaxy's Edge and getting a fast pass, and you probably also need to make a reservation ahead of time. They just park you right at the front. No reservation needed. No fast pass needed.
Now, we did have a reservation, but when our reservation was called, like when it was time,
it wasn't.
The ride down.
Wasn't open yet. Right.
The ride was down.
But it was up very quickly. It wasn't down. We weren't waiting hours to get on.
No.
We probably
got a text
waited
message.
Maybe 30-ish minutes, if that.
Yeah.
Before it was up and ready to go. So it wasn't like an exceedingly long wait. But even if it was, regardless, as a Halcyon rep, as a little bit of added value to you going on the Halcyon, they just take you right to the front of the line. Another reservation
the best part, and I don't want to glance over it, is we did not go there looking for a Halcyon representative.
Right, we were told.
They pulled us.
Once we got there, yeah.
They pulled us and said, "Hey, we can help you right over here. You're on the Halcyon, right?" Yeah.
Yeah. So what, do we go in the Lightning Pass line? What do we do here? And they said,
told us exactly what we need to do.
Which we just explained moments ago.
Right. So let's talk about, at the beginning of the video, I was saying I was writing down what I would happily pay for different experiences. So I'm sure you guys know what a park pass, up to $250 per person.
Per person, and that's just for a day.
And that's just for a day. That's without that's with zero. That's without paying for food, without paying for parking, which is also expensive.
So out of that, let's say you're paying, almost $6,000 for a family of 4. 1,000 of that would be your day at Galaxy's Edge, which is included here.
Well, more than that.
Yeah.
More than that, because that's what I'm saying. You don't have you have to take parking into consideration. You have to take the meals into consideration, and every member of your family that you have on your reservation for the Halcyon, they get a free meal
At
Galaxy's Edge.
At the docking bay.
Yeah, Docking Bay 7 or Ronto Roasters.
At Ronto Rep, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you get a free meal voucher, and that's for whatever you want. It's not limited to, well, you only get the roasted tip yip and mac and cheese or whatever.
Any meal you want and the drink.
You can get the ribs, you can get a drink, you can get the tip yip if that's what you really like. I got the tip yip because I like the tip yip. But our the other party member who was with us, Chris from Force.net and rebelscum.com, he ordered the ribs and he said they were very good. Yeah. And that was a free meal. That was our lunch for the day.
And that would have been
at
like
least
$18 a person? At least.
Before drinks.
Yeah, not that that's, yes, it's a lot of money for lunch, but that's what people pay at a
Disney park.
At a Disney park for food.
And again, that was included with our experience. That's not something that we got just because we were there as media. That was just part of the deal of doing it, because it's either you get your lunch there while you're doing things, or
you go back to the boat.
You go back to the boat and you just have your normal meal there. So that's their way of covering. You still get lunch regardless of you wanting to stay on park all day or stay on planet all day and do all those experiences, which again, theoretically, in between 9 and 4, you can. That's why I'm saying if this is something you're doing, set those other reservations ahead of time. Your reservation to Dock Andors, because you don't get a reservation to that unless I think you ask for it, which we didn't.
That is something that I would really like to see. Let's be a little critical. What did we not see that we would have liked to have seen?
I feel like we should have gotten a reservation to everything, at least everything.
Me too.
And that's where I was a little disappointed. We got a reservation to do the droid depot.
Or before you go, have your droid in your room say, hey, can I, on day 1, what activities would you like to do tomorrow?
And can I set those for you?
How cool would that be to have the droid set those up?
I agree. That would be very cool. So that is one of the shortcomings with Galaxy's Edge that I wish they improved on.
We don't need a bunch of free stuff, but I mean...
But the opportunity to do those things.
Right.
Because especially for those who, this might be they might have been saving up their Galaxy's Edge experience, especially after this video, to do both Galaxy's Edge for the first time and do the Starcruiser, since as we've tried to convey, you get so much more out of Galaxy's Edge by doing.
I would recommend do Galaxy's Edge before you go.
Right.
Because you're going to get a lot out of it if you've never been.
Regardless. It's still an amazing experience on its own. It's definitely an experience that I would never sell short, because it's awesome. Galaxy's Edge is amazing.
It's just that much better.
So much better. It's like I explained it for some of us gentlemen who know. I explained it to somebody else who likes some of the finer things. Take it as if you're having that very nice, fanciful steak dinner. Now, the Halcyon is that very nice, expensive cigar to the steak dinner. The steak dinner is amazing on its own, and that's what Galaxy's Edge is. But this cigar just makes it so much better, for those of you who know what I'm talking about. You're sitting there like, yeah, you would. You
would say something like that, because, I mean... Who smokes cigars? It's not 1840 wood.
There's still plenty of gentlemen out there who do.
Well, okay.
Some of us. Anyway.
So, we did get a Droid Depot reservation.
Yep.
We got
And we got a reservation at Oga's, but now the reservation at Oga's was part of the experience.
Right.
Because there are story elements
a mission there.
To going to Oga's. Regardless, again, of which story elements you pick, you're still doing that same mission at Oga's. but there is a very specific
You're just
objective
looking
to do
for
at
different
Ogas.
things.
And you get at least an hour for your reservation at Ogas. So if you're wanting to go just because you've been wanting to go to Ogas, perfect. You get a reservation as part of your experience to do Ogas.
I think we were only there for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, we didn't stay for too long, mostly because we wanted to go because it was part of our experience to do it. And we had never, I had never gone to Ogas in my previous trip to Galaxy's Edge, so I wanted to do it and see DJ Rex, and I did, and I'm happy that I did. It was very cool. But I wasn't interested in staying too long because there was other things at the park that I wanted to do in Galaxy's Edge. And aside from just relaxing and having a drink for a few minutes, I mean, that's basically what you're at Ogas to do.
So they do explain, because we never really knew before, how did DJ Rex go from Star Tours to being the DJ at Ogas?
Right, and he was an official Star Tours pilot. And
He was the original Star
Right.
Tours pilot.
And then he crashed on Ogas, and they rebuilt him to be the DJ.
Right. And that's a story element that is now canon that you get from the Galactic Starcruiser.
Right. And a lot of different people talk about it. Now, I'm pretty sure it was mentioned before at Galaxy's Edge. Like, I'm sure if you asked somebody about it, they would have told you that. But they emphasize it during the Galaxy's... not
Well, on the
Galaxy's, during-
transport.
on the transport to it, they emphasize it and people tell you about it. But aside from Ogas and doing the 2 rides, which are probably the 3 main things you would want to do, I am disappointed that we didn't get to do the Droid Depot, which that was
Droid Depot.
right. But I mean, as something that would have automatically been included, like if
That
you're,
was included
if
for
you're-
us.
For us, I'm saying as a regular passenger, that was one of the optional things they had available, so they were able to put it on our docket because it was available, not because it was something they were just already offering. So I feel like Droid Depot, just a reservation to do it at some point in the day, should be on there. The lightsaber, build a lightsaber, should be on there. Whether you choose to do these things or not, you should be able to just do it if you're already paying for this experience, because yes, again, it is a lot, but I hope that at this point we've broken down some of the elements where, okay, I can see where the price point might be a little bit worth it, or it's not. That's up to you. But you should get a reservation to Droid Depot regardless. Whether you choose to build a droid and buy a droid or not, you should at least have a reservation to do it.
I'm
if
not
you choose
saying
to.
they should give free stuff away,
Right. That's not at all what we're saying.
but it's not going to hurt them to be like,
To say, okay, you're doing this experience. Here's your reservation if you want to go do this.
right,
Yeah.
and just put it on your data pad.
Right. And here's your window. If you want to do it instead of doing this other thing, this is the time of which you get to do it.
What's the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is they make some money and people buy some stuff.
That family buys their first droid, or all the kids buy a droid, or a lightsaber.
They each buy a lightsaber.
Right. And you should have a reservation for Doc Andor's shop. That was one of the things we were disappointed about, because we wanted to check out the Legacy lightsabers, and we set a reservation. Well, not a reservation. We set a meeting while we were there because we didn't think we'd need to set a reservation, which we were wrong. And it wasn't until almost 5 o'clock when we got the text that we were allowed to get in line.
And the
to
line
wait
was
in
at
the
least
shop.
an hour.
And the line was at least an hour wait
Yeah.
if we were to get
And
in
we
line.
set that at 2 o'clock.
Yeah. So at least 2 hours before we left. So that's where I feel it fell a little short as far as the Galaxy's Edge experience is. You don't get a reservation for everything. That's why I say if you're going until maybe they get that sorted or worked out for the future, if you already know you're going, if you already have your tickets purchased and you know when you're going, go ahead and set some of those reservations. So overall, do I think it's worth it? Do I think that having a day at the park makes it even helps make it worth it? Yes, but I feel like it could just be a little bit better.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is it worth it if, and this is not what I was just talking about, is it worth it if they don't send you to the park?
That's a tough call. Honestly, I'm going to say no.
I would probably say no.
if you didn't have a day at the park, if it didn't incorporate the park in some way, especially with all the value that we've covered that you get by going to the park and all the way they take care of you at the park, I would say no.
There's so much to the park experience that is just furthering the immersion.
Right.
The most oversought part of this, you can't put on a video.
No.
You can't show it to somebody.
No.
It's the immersion and it's the actual experiences.
It's like with a lot of things that even I'll say with even some action figures and stuff, videos and photos do not do it justice.
Who among you witnessed the Resistance operatives unbolt and free the droid?
Oh
They
yeah,
call
I
us
saw that.
K620.
Yeah.
Shame. And who here has witnessed disrespect of the First Order?
All of us.
You're telling me. I expected from the ship's crew and that mechanic, but even the songstress guy are used to the stage to voice a thinly veiled intelligence. On a brighter note, who among you has aided the First Order in the foiling of the plans of the Resistance and their operatives? Yeah. Well done!
Yeah.
Continuing your work. That is why we are here.
I killed my droid.
Very good, sir. A noble sacrifice. We must all kill our droids.
I'll kill mine.
Okay, let's not use the K word.
Yes. Okay, think about making that space small. Look towards you. Good. Yes. Yes. Find your connection. Keep your hand out. Keep your hand out. Good. Okay. So let me see. Catherine, I think that we can make this connection stronger, even more intense. Let's magnify it to everyone in this room, to Bobby, to Kurt, to everyone. All right, so Catherine, reach out. Connect it. The whole thing's feeling that energy? All right, focus. Focus and hold this rock towards you. Oh, it's amazing.
So cool.
Catherine, how do you feel?
I'm amazing.
Amazing.
I'm scared.
What would you value the opportunity to go to that gift shop? Like without anything else.
Without nothing else. So
Just
value
what would
the
you
opportunity
pay-
just to get in the door for the merch.
What would you pay for a pass to walk in there to that gift shop, get whatever you wanted, pay for whatever you wanted, and leave?
Goodness.
With the restrictions being the same restrictions that are on there.
Which is one
It's
per person.
One per person.
And
Or some of the higher end items.
like the Legacy Saber.
The Legacy, the Halcyon Legacy Saber is 2 per cabin maximum.
Right.
So knowing what some of that stuff is selling for in the secondary market.
Right.
One of our highlights is that we have this unique saber that you can only get on the Halcyon. So this here is also the first saber that you can customize. So this has not been done before. So what you can see is we have all of the Arabesh letters here, and you can pick the letters that you want, and you can put it in and customize it for yourself. So we have one customized here. As you can see, we have C for Chandra. So this is where, so we picked the C out of here, we put it in here, and we were able to customize it. I can pop this out and I can put in a B for Bobby, and you can customize it.
T for Tracy.
Or T for Tracy. And then of course, it's just like the Legacy lightsabers that we have.
So does it have the same blade interface as the other Legacy lightsabers that you could get on Batu?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. So it comes in and out. It's the same working mechanism. The great thing here is that we have a cap in here, so it truly looks like the one that you go through the saber training experience, and then you just take the cap out and slide the blade in.
And is this the case that it comes in?
Yes. So it is the case that it comes in. So you can see here. So if you look at it in packaging, this will look like in packaging.
Wonderful.
So just like that.
Pick up one of those.
And then we have this, and then we also have our Legacy shield.
Now, I recognize this from one of the events aboard the Halcyon. I believe this was from the Saber training room.
Yes. So this is exactly like that. So we have the sound, it makes the colors, you can change colors too. So we have a.
Oh, that's cool.
So we worked really closely with Walt Disney Imagineering to be able to bring this experience home to the guests as well. So we're really excited about this. And this is Legacy. So these both are Legacy. However, we do have a lights and sound version of both the Saber and also the Shield. So
Nice.
yeah.
So there's a more affordable option for the younger audience as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Very nice.
We have it. And, people, this one's a little bit heavier because it's definitely an authentic experience. So we just definitely have the different options for people.
Very nice.
We have our favorite droid, SK. So, of course, if you go through, you're going to want to have this. He's an integral part of your experience. So we have lots of different versions. We have our fully RC, just like the one that you can get on Galaxy's Edge.
So my question with this is, could the parts from the SK model be swapped around with some of the Galaxy's Edge droids, for example?
Yeah, so some of the features that you have in there, we still have here. So you can actually put them in here and have those same experiences that you have with those droids. You can have them with this droid as well.
How wonderful.
And then he also, like we said, he's fully RC. I have one back here ready to demo. So he is ready to go. See? So it's just like the same experience that you have there.
And I see the control pad looks very similar.
Yes, it's exactly the same. If you have experience and you're a pro with the other one, you're going to have no problem with this guy as well.
That's so
We had
cool.
several of them.
Then you know what I'm talking about.
We didn't get the
not the SK.
But we also have, we know not everybody wants the big one, so we have this little guy here. So he also does, he also has the sound feature. And then we have our Droid Factory, so we know we have a lot of guests and fans who love to collect the entire series. So we do have a special one here for the Droid Factory as well. So we have the 3 different versions for SK.
Seeing this droid, the SK620,
XK620, the 3/3 scale droid is
selling
gained
for $500 right now.
It has gained significant value, as well as the Droid Depot scale remote control droid, which is compatible with swappable parts with your Droid Depot droid if you went and built one yourself, or the extra awesome attachments you can buy at the Droid Depot. It's compatible with those pieces as well.
And we didn't even get to see everything that was going to be there because it wasn't all ready yet.
Honestly, just for the ability to buy that stuff, I would think, and that's so it's because regardless of what it is, I think under $500, it's worth it for the consumer, just because of
I would happily
the value and the value of those items.
I would happily pay $200 just to walk into that.
At least 2.
Yeah.
And that's
per person.
That's.
I know that
sounds high.
That sounds totally ridiculous, and it's not that the gift shop is that awesome, but the stuff that's in the gift shop is stuff that you cannot find
anywhere else. It's not stuff that you're going to be able to get at Disney Springs at any point. It's not stuff that you're going to be able to get at Galaxy's Edge at any point, because it honestly...
It's part of the Chandrella collection is what they call it.
Right, and keeping in consideration that all of these are canonical elements, it wouldn't make sense to mix those elements from a storytelling standpoint either, especially since the whole point of this is a full immersive experience and your canonical story. That's really what it boils down to. You're paying your way into Star Wars.
Bobby got a piece of clothing that he's getting married in.
Yeah, I was very excited. I saw one of the formal wear, which, I mean, you can see all over the place. Various people were wearing it even throughout the events. I wasn't. Even throughout the events as they having. I mean, they were... Even throughout the days and events that they were having aboard the Halcyon Starcruiser. I mean, look at Dave. Ashley Eckstein and Dave Eckstein. Ashley had Dave in all of the different outfits.
Yeah, they got like one of each thing and changed in between each meal
several times. Poor Dave, man. We kept bumping into Dave in the hallway, and he'd be off to changing again. We're like, she's making a change again. Yeah, he'd have the hanger over his shoulder. I mean, Ashley was on the whole time, but man, Dave was putting in some work that weekend.
Listen, man, if you're looking at it, and I'm not saying that this is something that should happen, but if we're being honest, we know that this is something that will happen. Somebody will go get the experience, buy whatever they can, and then just the stuff that they bought in the gift shop
Can pay for the trip.
could be resold
Yeah. From a
to cover the price of the whole trip.
from a collector's standpoint, from a valued standpoint.
Because you're never going to see an SK.
No.
Because you can only get one per person. You're never going to see a 3 3/4 inch SK figure that somebody's going to be selling for cover price. It's just not going to happen.
Unless that person is just super nice and isn't there for the value for themselves.
But when
you're also not going to see me selling an SK because I was really excited to get that figure because I'm a figure collector.
Right. Yeah.
Which is also why we're probably not going to do a loose figure review, unfortunately, because
there's just too much value in that figure to open it.
I couldn't open it.
That would be like
That's
opening up a 12 back.
Right. That was one of the few figures I just couldn't bring myself to open. It's in a protective case hanging on my wall, and of course I'll pull it down for when I do the review here for you guys because I know I haven't done it yet.
I have seen them open already.
Right.
I mean, that's cool.
If I could have gotten two for myself, I would have opened one.
Because they're $12.99
right
in the gift shop.
But again, you're spending thousands to get your foot in the door of that gift shop if that's all you're interested in. Which is why the value on those items is so high right now, is because they're exclusive to it. There's no other way to get those items.
The Legacy hilt, that thing is insane.
Oh, I believe
I've already seen multiples for selling for over 1,000.
I believe it. Which reminds me, we got to review the one that you picked up for your collection here pretty soon as well. So stay tuned for those reviews, guys. We did get some merch. All of the merch we got for ourselves. I mean, I got what I'm getting married in here pretty soon, which I'm excited about. It looks awesome. He got a Legacy Saber for him. I mean,
I built a droid for my daughter. I
know there was some interesting feedback on the Legacy Saber when it got announced. And I mean, some positive, some not so positive, but I mean, it's a beautiful saber hilt. It looks so cool. And the customization, putting whatever, Arabesh letter or number on there that you want, like your own initial, for example, just making it yours a little bit more, I thought was very cool too.
Well, you got to interview the head of merchandise for the parks and resorts. We have her word. The items in the gift shop
are only there.
Will never be available anywhere else.
Right.
Not from Disney.
No.
That being said, when you're done with the experience, there's a wall that opens up in the lobby where there's a second gift shop.
Mm-hmm. And that's the one on your way out.
Well, you're already out. You're literally outside.
Once you're outside, that's where that gift shop is.
But that's like the souvenir shop. That's not the.
That one's got like some T-shirts, some printed shirts, hats, and things.
But it's still all specific Galactic Starcruiser stuff.
And again, you're only going to be able to get it by doing the experience.
So for those of you that collect the magic bands, which I know that there's a lot of you out there, and I was very surprised to see what just the magic bands sell for.
I mean, Chris told us it would be crazy.
Yeah,
because
hundreds for a magic band. He has all of them. He lives in Orlando. He has all of them.
He goes to Disney all the time. Yeah.
There's three. There's three that you cannot get. If you're a completionist, there's three that you cannot get without going
you do this
on the cruise.
As a passenger, you get a magic band. That's part of your experience. You get a magic band. That's the white magic band that you'll see us wearing throughout the videos.
In the onboard gift shop, there's a black and gold magic band.
Which is similar design pattern to the one that we have, just black and gold versus white and gold. And then
there's a third one that's in the souvenir gift shop when you're done with the experience. That's more of like a passport kind of design.
Yeah, and it looks cool too. I mean, there's awesome.
We'll do a review.
designs there.
I ended up getting all three. We'll do a review of.
We'll cover the magic bands. That'll be interesting doing a magic band review. But I mean, it's a cool piece. There's like we mentioned, there are people who collect those. So there you go. Again, and those magic bands are selling for hundreds of dollars, which you got to take into account. That's part of the value of going as well. Is you have this memento, this very valuable memento.
What I'm trying to convey and get across is there's a lot of value there,
right?
That is not advertised at all.
Right. And that's kind of feel like where our role came in to conveying that to you. Aside from the experience is awesome, the story elements are really cool. There are fight scenes, physical fight scenes that we're, and there watching, right there in person.
We try not to do any story spoilers, but
yeah.
I mean, if you're interested, there's videos out there.
There are videos out there. Yeah, we don't. Unfortunately, we're not going to post too much of the story stuff. I know I like to cover story stuff for you guys in some other cases, but for this, I mean, this is really special, and it's not going to be quite the same as if you're there versus watching something on a screen.
And it's also not something that we can fully cover.
Right.
Because we don't know what the Resistance was doing, and we don't know what the Scoundrels were doing. All that we know is our path with the First Order led us to A, B, C, X, Y, Z. We just don't know. We don't have the full story. You have to go multiple times to get the full story.
And I guarantee by the time I've saved up my way to go again, which again I'm currently doing because I really want to go again, I will be doing the Resistance storyline next time.
Yeah, I'm staying First Order. I'm just gonna make some.
I'm
gonna make some different choices.
I gotta see the whole thing. I really do. I really want to experience the whole. Aside from just having fun and wanting to go again, I'm sure I'd still want to go again, even without those, other story paths that you can do, by picking your side in the Galaxy's Edge, in the Halcyon experience. And that's not to say you have to. You can just totally ignore those things. But for even some of the family members you might be dragging with you to do this who might not be Star Wars fans.
By the time they get there, they will be.
We met lots of other people from other news outlets who had nothing to do with Star Wars, who had no interest in Star Wars, and even they were having a hard time not participating. And I think that's part of how well
that's the Disney magic, man.
That's just how well they just drag you under with that immersion. I mean,
because everybody feels so included in every single thing.
This is an experience for everyone.
So we've been gushing over this the whole video. Is there anything other than what we mentioned about the day at Batu that you would like to have seen done differently or better?
Oh yes, there are definitely rooms for improvement. Specifically the rooms. I thought the rooms were beautiful. There was a lot of design work that were incorporated that that made me feel like, oh my gosh, this is so Star Wars. Like the paneling on the walls looked very Millennium Falcon to me.
Right.
However,
out the viewport was awesome.
Yeah, the whole time. That was so cool too. The way the panels and buttons lit up on everything, very cool. And you can turn all that off if you don't want to have a bunch of blinking lights and stuff in your room. I mean, when we turned stuff off, it was pitch dark in there. You couldn't see. So that is possible. Comfortability.
I've never heard somebody say pitch dark. It's always
pitch black.
Pitch black.
Pitch dark. That's one word.
Pitch dark. Hashtag pitch dark.
Hashtag pitch dark. I didn't want to get sued by Vin Diesel. Anyway.
I call him Mark Sinclair, but that's something different.
No. Comfortability. If you're a bunch of grown people that have, pooled some money together because, you're 20 to 25 or 20 to 30 or whatever, and you've got a bunch of adult buddies that want to go,
if you're trying,
it's not going to be very comfortable.
The small cabin on a small budget
unless you're parents with kids, you're not going to be very comfortable.
Yeah,
sleeping wise, the bunks are big enough for full grown men to sleep in, which we slept in.
Yep.
Well, tried to sleep in.
So I'm 6'2".
I'm 5'11",
and I could touch both sides.
I could not.
The top and the bottom.
I was close.
And I was on the bottom bunk.
I was on top.
And I turned over, and there's a stair.
Oh yeah, the ladder.
Ladder.
And you kicked it.
And I kicked it, and my toe was black and blue for 2 weeks.
It was pretty funny, actually.
Like in the middle of the night, ding!
I heard
what
it.
Was that?
Yeah.
So that could be better. But
yeah, it's definitely not very comfortable.
That being said, they're not made to They're not made for adults.
They're made big enough for an adult to fit in, but not an adult to sleep in comfortably. Maybe get like a better mattress or something, because it's more like a mat that you're sleeping on. Maybe get a little bit better of a mattress or something, because the little sleep I did get, every night I woke up sore. And
Well, that being said, we were going hard all day.
all day, both days, right?
And we were only in the cabin
From about
to use the
midnight-ish,
bathroom, to sleep, and to shower. And that's it.
and we were in there on average from about midnight-ish is around when we went back to our cabins
Until about 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Yeah.
And we would get up at 6,
Again,
get dressed.
To reiterate, and that's
Go get breakfast.
That's another area where I think it could be improved on. This is not a vacation type thing. It is obviously a vacation type thing, but this is not a relaxing vacation type
It's
thing.
an adventure. You want to get your money out of it. You want it to be worthwhile for the amount of money that you spend for it. You, like, every second of your day,
You're going to be occupied.
You're occupied. You're scheduled. If you're doing it right, you're fully scheduled, and you know, okay, in half an hour we have to be in the atrium for this announcement. 45 minutes after that we have lightsaber training.
And all of the atrium stuff are major story element events for everybody. All of the atrium stuff is where everything converges for everybody.
Pro tip:
regardless of what you're doing.
Don't try to be in the front or the back or on one side or the other.
Try to be more in the middle.
Try to be in the middle.
Yeah, you'll see the action a little bit better that way.
You'll see the action better. You'll have more elbow space, because it seemed like in our experience, everybody tried to get close to the front, and
there's stuff happening all
there's
around
stuff.
the room.
You could probably tell by some of our footage we couldn't get the best shot because we were in the top left corner of the atrium.
Yep.
When we were filming.
Yep.
And okay, so what else could be done better?
So going back to the room, mostly just the beds. The beds weren't very comfortable if you're a party of grown men, and you know, not all of you are cuddling in the main master bed in there, which you could fit at least 2 adults in that. Other than that, I thought the room was pretty decent. The shower was nice. The shower is actually very nice. Don't worry about having to bring your own travel soaps or shampoos unless you're just a stickler about what you use when you shower.
So
bathrooms were nice.
We didn't get to see this. There is 3 different types of suites.
Okay.
So we were in the standard cabin.
Right.
So that's a bed, a viewport, 2 bunk beds,
A full
a
bathroom.
TV, and a full bathroom. That's it.
By the way, you're not going to be using the TV.
Oh, we never even turned on the TV.
Not even once.
It has the standard cabin has a mini fridge, hair dryer, a safe,
Closet.
Well,
more like a
it says
wardrobe.
interactive TV.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Some nice little chairs that pull out from the wall, as well as a table that pulls out from the wall panel.
The next one up, which we did not get to see, says 1 bedroom Galaxy class suite, sleeps up to 4 passengers. The room configuration is queen bed with 2 wall pull down beds for 1 adult each.
Mm-hmm.
So those are not the
Bunks.
bunk beds.
No.
That would have been really nice.
That would have been probably better for us.
I would have liked to have been in that instead. And then it has all the same stuff. And then there's the Grand Captain Suite, which sleeps up to 8 passengers, has 2 queen beds, 2 bunk beds, and 2 wall pull-down beds. So they're counting 2 people in each queen bed, 1 person in each bunk bed, and you go from there. That, I mean, even just from the picture online, it looks like so it's a 2-bedroom, first of all. I want to know what this thing costs.
I do too. So that's where the rooms could have been better.
Yeah. The other thing, all cards on the table. Day 2 in Batu, my data pad went down.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of doing a mission.
And it was
Lieutenant Croy.
It was having a hard time loading for both of ours. And I just left mine alone, thinking, okay, maybe it'll catch up later, because one of the Halcyon members said, well, maybe it'll catch up to itself later. after you go to this area, it should reload and mark as though you did it, even though you were, doing another mission at a time. No big deal. Well, we tried to reset his.
I did a mission. It's not that we tried to reset it. It's that the whole thing froze and crashed.
On yours. And then after we got a hold of a rep that said they could reset it, they reset it, and then...
They did. It's like an iPhone 8.
Basically.
So it's the last iPhone... Right. The device is actually an iPhone. It's the last iPhone that has a home button. So whichever one that is, I don't know. They did a hard reset, reloaded it. It looked like it was good to go, but then it did not register any of my progress
from the past 2 days or past day and a half at that point, really. And that did take that took
me out. It took me out. I mean, I did not realize how much, and that's why I can speak from a specific point of view that data pad is way more immersion.
It's a good chunk of the immersion because that's your contact with the various characters aboard the ship, the main characters aboard the ship.
Just imagine, you know how people are nowadays. A lot of especially people mine and Bobby's age. My phone's right here. I don't go anywhere without my phone. I got my Apple Watch. We're very connected to technology. They took that premise and said, put your cell phone in the back pocket. This is what you're going to be using. And we were getting texts from different crew members, Lieutenant Croy.
And that's how you get your missions.
Oga.
That's how you get your...
And it replaced real life.
Right. That's how you get your story elements and the added parts of your schedule of what to do when you side with whoever.
I very much got the feeling, you know how when you text a loved one and you're looking forward to the response?
Right.
I was like that all day. I'm like, why isn't Croy texting me back?
Right. I just hacked this droid at the resistance base for him. Come on, give me an update on it. Give me like a good job or you've done good for the order today, son. Thank you. Way to get those rebels.
There's a minimum of 3 different Lieutenant Croys.
Oh, actors? Yeah. Yeah, that was also nice to see that they have different actors in place for these same roles, so that especially the actors who are in costume and makeup all day don't get burnt out on doing this experience, at least 2 times a week for however many times they do this a month.
Right.
So that was cool to see too.
All that being said about my data pad, it did catch up. We finally got somebody. But I kept talking to people about it because I was getting upset.
Right.
And realistically, I would have been mad if I had paid for it. Right. I was upset that I wasn't getting to play along, but if they did not give me a quick fix to it, which they didn't, it took several hours for me to get this fixed and caught up.
Well, by the time someone had figured out how to get you caught up.
Right.
Which ended up being very simple. It was just ask around. If something like this happens, if this is something they haven't put, as a priority to get fixed when we brought it up to multiple people, and we even brought it up to someone who's very high up in the overall project.
Right.
If this isn't something that has been fixed at this point, make sure you just keep asking around different reps because somebody's going to know how to fix it.
All that being said, I'm certain that it's been worked out. So you got to keep in mind, we were on the first voyage that was not just friends and family.
Of Disney people. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other than that, I'm trying to be critical because
we need to be.
We need to be critical, but I can't think of something else. Something else is I wish, I didn't like the bathroom doors. There's not a handle on there, so you're basically
you're putting your fingers on the latch trying to get a grip on it. Right.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
The bathroom doors are sliding doors.
Right.
They're made of wood, so they've got some weight to them. So if you have kids who are trying to get these doors open and closed, you might have to help them out.
Either that or it's going to get slammed by a little kid.
Or maybe they get their finger stuck in the door. So watch out for that. Again, they are heavy doors. So for kids, that can be a
And then
little
the
bit
front
of a
door
hazard.
of your cabin is a pretty heavy piece. So I didn't like that. I didn't like something that I would have liked to have seen, because there was food on day one.
Right.
I had dinner that I was like, man, I'd really like some more of that, but we kind of pounded it. I wish that we knew on day one, hey, if you want more of that, I can just bring you more.
Right. We didn't think to ask about it until day 2. So
until dinner on day 2. So
like a cruise experience, if there's something you like at dinner time, even though you can't necessarily have what you had on day 1 on day 2 for dinner, you can ask for however many more helpings you want. It's all you can eat. So
and day 2 dinner is a big dinner. It's like a 4-course meal.
Yeah, it was very good.
And the dessert was bellissima.
Oh yeah, so good. Oh yeah, it was very, very good.
We're sitting there and we like pounded this pot roast dish that they gave us, and I was like, I'm just gonna ask them to bring us some more.
And he was like, yeah, you can do that.
He was like, yeah, no problem.
Which we were
Bobby's
kind of
like,
kicking ourselves like, man, why didn't we think to do that the day before?
So if you're watching this video and you're planning on going,
just know.
Order as much as you want. They don't care.
Yeah. I will say another thing that should be included, like on a cruise, is maybe not so much at Galaxy's Edge, but while you're on board the Halcyon, I think the alcoholic beverages should be included. I think they should.
I disagree, and this is why. You don't want. And I'm taking Disney's side on this.
Okay.
If the alcohol is included, it's going to be very easy for somebody who got dragged along to disassociate and sit in the bar. And this is a family thing.
Sure.
You don't want one moron who can't hold his liquor, who's getting free drinks in the cantina,
go nuts.
to cause problems for a family that's there
with their small ones.
I think.
Okay, so maybe.
To your point though.
Maybe there's some middle ground then.
To your point though, I think that the alcoholic drinks are too expensive.
Okay, so we're in the what do you call it? The bar, I guess. The lounge. Yeah, Starlight Lounge. That's what it was. Yep. And I walked in and it was a long day and my neck was hurting and I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and get a drink. Oh, what would you like? I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm a basic guy. So I said, on my planet, there's ways to get around them being in character,
right?
In telling them directly what you want without forcing them to break character or forcing them to go a long roundabout way without breaking character to get you what you want.
So I just said, on my planet we have this. This is my favorite drink. And he said, oh yeah, we can do that.
We got something like that.
We'll have something imported for you real quick. It'll be just a minute.
And then they go and bring you your Jack and Coke.
Right.
Yeah.
So that being said,
how much was it? That's what the point we were getting at was price.
$13 for a double Jack and Coke, which is not. I mean, it's not bad.
But that's more than you would have in like a regular setting. Which again, think of going back to it, we're paying Disney prices. You'd be probably paying that regardless if you're on the Starcruiser or not, if you're on Disney parks, or on Disney property.
But I honestly think that is the middle ground.
You think so?
You can't have, a happy hour where you're getting, $3 Crown and Down or something like that, like you would find in a bar in North Texas, and have people contain themselves.
I feel like
there has to. I think
more to it with that middle ground. I feel like if you're an adult of drinking age, while you're there, I feel like the middle ground should be you get at least one alcoholic drink comped, at least one. That way, if there's something you're excited to try, you get to try it. You get to have that one drink. And
well, maybe the way that they could do that then is it be offered at dinner. At the dinners.
There you go.
Instead of being offered in the bar.
There you go.
So that way our servers, by the way, was branded
the whole time.
and
He was
from Raxus.
He was amazing.
And that dude was on point. Like I mentioned earlier, how long have we been filming? Like 2 hours?
For a while.
Like I mentioned earlier, that dude was on point. He knew exactly what my allergies were. He knew exactly what I couldn't eat. I didn't have to go through the nonsense of saying, hey, sorry, is there mushrooms in this? Or I'm sorry, I can't eat shrimp.
Every time he brought out a course, he went, okay, so here's what you can have, Bobby, because you're basically a dump truck who he didn't say those things. You're basically a dump truck who'll eat anything. He didn't say that word for word, but I mean that's basically
he did.
That's basically what he did. He did. Don't get him in trouble. That's basically what happened. I ate everything, and then he would go, okay, Joshua, here's yours. No mushrooms, no mayo on anything. This is what we have. And every time he handed us something, he broke down what was in it.
Right.
Even for someone who like me, who's a dump truck and will eat anything, he still broke it all down. And then Chris, he was like, "Here you go, Chris.
Here's our gluten-free
Here's
option.
our gluten-free options. It's this, and this. Here's all the stuff that goes with it." And that was every single course for every single meal we had with him, which was both dinners. And then even the second night, which was so interesting.
Oh
and
my
cool.
goodness! So we were the first people in the dining room, or I was, because I
And-
was already downstairs. We walk in, or I walk in,
And there's Brandon.
and Brandon's right there.
Smiling. Hey, nice to see you again, Josh, Bobby.
Let me
come
take
right
you
over
to
to
your
your table. Same table.
We get to same table. We get to the table, or I get to the table.
And
the same drinks that we had ordered the night before, that were obviously our preferences
For the night before.
were already there.
And he said, I took the liberty of ordering your drinks and having them ready for you before you sat down at the table.
And honestly, we were the only we're not special, but he went above and
It
beyond.
felt special. Made me feel special.
But I didn't see any other tables that got that treatment.
Right. I didn't. I think that was just Brandon going above and beyond.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm sure
That
there
being
were some
said,
other
it
tables
was,
that
it was
did.
tea, and Coke or something. It was something.
Yeah, you
really
and I
easy.
had tea, and then I think Chris had Powerade or something. But
Oh yeah.
it was, regardless, it didn't matter what we would have ordered. He knew. And, of course, in character the whole time. Aside from just being an actor, he's an actor and a waiter, but an actor who's playing a Star Wars waiter, basically, which was so nice. I mean, super awesome.
You know what's funny to me? I'm trying to be critical, and even while trying to be critical,
Even while
we
being
can't-
critical, you can't help but be excited. I know. And this is weeks after we've been away. Like, we've had time to stew on this. We've had time to let it, wash away and the gilded image of it from what we
hopefully
saw
we've had
while we were
enough
there
time.
to get it out of our system. And I mean, I still want to go back.
Hopefully we've had enough time for some of the, we've heard all the comments. There's a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, you guys are Disney shills for."
Yeah,
that's not the case, man.
We see what.
I honestly, I don't want to say that I wanted to go there and trash it.
No,
but I wanted to go.
I was excited the whole time.
And I wanted to enjoy myself, but I wanted to give a very straightforward.
We had our reservations.
Right. Just like everybody.
We had heard things from associates of ours who helped out with the project and told us, look, manage your expectations. We were going in expecting there to be issues, not as many issues as the stuff that came up in December of 2021.
Video?
Right.
That video, erase
disregard.
that from your memory. That is not what the experience is, whatever.
No.
Whatsoever. I even told Bobby, we're walking into the resort, into the you walk into like this bunker kind of area, and then you go around this corner into your transport. And I even turned to Bobby and I was like, I hope we enjoy this, man, because we're probably never going to be paying to come back here.
And
the second we got on that same transport to come back down,
we were
back to the real world.
We had already been talking and figuring out, okay, how can we afford?
I'm like,
to come
yeah,
back?
we gotta figure this out, because I cannot sleep at night until I let my kids experience this awesome thing. That being said, my kids have been raised in Star Wars. I've owned Order 66 my children's entire life. And they know they can probably name more Star Wars characters than 9/10 of the people that walk into the store. So this is a very special thing for us. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming this is going to be something very special for you. And take my word for it. Give it a chance.
Give it a chance.
Give it a chance. Because if you don't like it, just go into the gift shop, buy a bunch of stuff, buy whatever they'll let you buy.
Yeah.
Put it on Evil Bay, and you'll make your money back.
You should. Yeah.
I would almost guarantee it.
I wouldn't say that because anything can happen.
Well, anything can happen, but
the
money, the investment value is there.
If you're patient and willing to wait and do it, you can very easily do it. If you do it the right way, you can very easily make your money back.
But I'm telling you right now, once you experience it, the more people that actually experience it, the more videos you're going to see like this that are from people that paid full price to go, that are saying, you guys got to go.
Right. And I have yet to have an in-person conversation with somebody, during some time working Order 66 hours, and we've had people come in and they go, okay, Bob, don't give me any of the BS.
Honest answers.
Honest answers. And it's the same thing we're conveying to you right now. Same information. And every single in-person interaction I've had, they've always left the conversation like, that sounds amazing. Okay.
Like maybe I should give this a chance.
And some of them have been couples, some people expecting young ones or having young ones with them and go, oh. And where the wife is going, yeah, tell them it's too expensive or not worth it. Tell them.
And by the end of the conversation, the wife is on there. Oh, they have availability next July.
Right. Now, that's not to say everybody's going to have that reaction. That's just been our reactions. That's been the reactions we've gotten in person so far. Again, I know there's some of you watching who we probably have maybe cemented the fact that, okay, this isn't worth it for me. I can't say this is worth it for everybody. And I'm not going to say it's worth it for everybody. It isn't. It definitely is not worth it for everybody. It's not worth it for every Star Wars fan. And I'm not going to say that if you don't do this, well, you're missing out on a huge experience and you're not, a good Star Wars fan for not going. Not saying any of those things. No. This isn't for everybody. But
people that get it, this is a life-altering experience.
This is a very exciting experience. It is so much fun, and man, I'm gonna be jonesing to go back for quite some time. But yeah, it's definitely not for everybody. That price point is high, but I definitely don't agree with a lot of the comments I see on a lot of posts, even on Disney posts, our posts, other
content
creators posts. By no means do I think Disney priced people out of this. By no means.
So here's kind of my final thoughts on it, because I keep going back to this little notepad that I was working on. My final thoughts are, if you price out, like I did, every single experience, what I would be willing, or what you would be willing to pay for it, and then you look at the total, is the price more or less than
adequate? Well,
what I'm trying to say is the price that you will be paying is actually cheaper than what you would pay for all of those different experiences individually. That being said, you kind of have to be a madman to book all of those experiences one after another for 2.5 days.
And think of like the value, again, go back to the value of what everything you get to do at Galaxy's Edge. With a lot of those things, you're going to have to go to Galaxy's Edge multiple times just to do those. Like I said, if you play your cards right, and again, I hope they change this in the future and give you reservations for everything that you can possibly get a reservation for.
I think we nailed it, man. I think your droid in your room should give you the opportunity on night one.
Right. Or just
whenever you click it, hey, would you like reservations?
And and then it play around your schedule. And they can fix your schedule if you have conflicting stuff. You can go to a Halcyon rep, they'll take you to the front desk, and they'll get your schedule fixed so you can still do all the things you want to do. But
that is one last critical thing that I want to say.
sure.
We had, I don't want to say an issue in our room because that's not what it was, but like in the bunks, they don't give you blankets. They give you.
It's like a hybrid between like a blanket and a sleeping bag. But it's not like a sleeping bag because you don't zip it up.
Right. So I get how do I say this?
I'm sure we could get a regular like blanket or comforter. We just never asked.
That's exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
While there is reps, people, crew there all the time, and I am 100% sure that they would be more than willing to help with anything that we need. You kind of feel you're so immersed in Star Wars. It's not one of these situations where it's like, hey, I'm not happy with my room. Let me talk to your manager. There's not a front desk where you can go and be like, or you can call down to the front desk and say, hey, I need some extra pillows. That being said, we picked up the phone and we got extra pillows. And I was confused why they didn't bring droids. Why didn't they just send the droids to bring us the pillows?
They were probably recharging.
Maybe.
It's possible.
So you kind of like, if you do have a problem, don't be afraid
To ask.
to just go and ask somebody.
Don't assume that.
Or just pick up the
they're gonna tack more money onto it. Don't assume that.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. It's
Don't assume that if you're like, oh man, I'm not exactly comfortable. This blanket's not the best. And I honestly I was fine with the blanket. I
wasn't.
slept in. You didn't like it.
I hated the blanket.
I thought it was fine. I just slept in it and it was good. But
it never crossed my mind
to ask for a different blanket. And there are other blankets available. Like you could ask, hey, could I get a comforter like what's on the bed over here? I'm in the bunk though. I'm sure the answer would be yes. Why wouldn't it be?
100%. But what I'm saying is they're so far removed from being a regular resort, like you were saying at the beginning of the video.
Or just being a hotel with a Star Wars sticker slapped on it.
Right.
Again, it's
they're
not
so
that.
far removed from that, there's not an obvious place to go to get those questions answered.
Right.
And it might come off like it's taking extra
Thought.
effort
Yeah.
on
the passenger to figure
to figure it out.
Which is why we're saying learn from our experiences, because since that's just not common knowledge to just think, oh, I can have as many helpings as I want of this meal, or aside from lunch and breakfast, because you can just walk up and get as much as you want.
Yeah, it's kind of buffet style.
Right. And but everything is individually portioned. You're not just like walking up and scooping a big thing of macaroni and cheese. You walk up and you're getting this fancy noodle thing with chicken on it. You're getting this, flatbread pizza thing or whatever, eggs and bacon in the morning or whatever. And it's all individually portioned. You put it on your tray. You can keep going up and down however much. I had so much blue milk. It was so very good. Loved it. You can have as much as you like.
Every meal, 2 or 3 glasses of blue milk.
I was drinking the blue milk. It was so good. And, but that's just stuff you don't think about is, oh, I need to ask for extra pillows, or I don't like this blanket. I want a different blanket because I'm in the bunk. Or, we never had to ask for extra towels. So that was nice.
No.
There's just things you don't necessarily
One
think,
of the best
hey,
things.
I can ask for these things. So just remember, there's things you can ask for that they don't just say, hey, by the way, ask for these things if you need them.
Tell them about the do not disturb.
Oh, the do not disturb thing is very cool.
Yeah.
You make sure you don't have it on, because if you have it set to do not disturb and at your door and you ask for stuff, they're not going to disturb you. So make sure you turn it off when you ask for stuff. But the do not disturb is a button panel, and it's got like a little BB-8 in the shape of like a lock. If you have it turned on, it'll be red and it'll look like it's locked. If you have it set to blue, it'll be turned off. And on the outside of your door, there will be a panel with a light indicating which one you have on or off. So make sure that you have that. So it's not like a little plastic or paper hanger that you put on your outside of your door. It's a little switch that you push from the inside of your door, which I really liked that. I thought that was
awesome.
very cool. So yeah, there's that too. Overall, our experience was awesome. Don't feel, just ask for stuff if there's something you want while you're on board. Even if it's, say you have a headache. I had a headache at one point in one of the evenings, and I just thought,
you talked to our server at the Starlight Lounge.
I was like, I just thought, well, maybe I'll ask for it, because I didn't have any headache pills on board with me. I didn't have any ibuprofen or Tylenol or any of that. So yeah, I just asked one of them. I said, hey, I have a bit of a headache. On my planet, we have something called Tylenol. Do you guys have anything like that? And she brought me a couple of packets of, I think it was ibuprofen actually. It wasn't Tylenol, but she brought me a couple of headache pills. And I was good for the rest of the night because they had something like that. So
it's just so far removed from real life.
Right.
While you're there.
If you think about it, if it's something simple like a pillow or, a headache pill or getting an extra drink, just ask. Even if you're not in during meal hours and you're hungry, like I said earlier, you can order food at the Starlight Lounge. That's no extra charge. Or there's snacks available in the atrium. You can even order other drinks. If you want a Coke, you don't want to sit and drink in the bar, but you want a Coke, you can order a Coke. It's no extra charge. You can order blue milk again. It's no extra charge. Whatever you want, they have it. It's awesome. There's definitely room for improvement.
Next time I go, I think I want to really kind of push the boundaries.
See what we can do.
And just be like, all right, how far are they willing to go to help people out?
Mm-hmm.
And I would not be surprised if there's not. I'm sure I would run out of things to ask for before they run out of willingness to help. Because,
right.
Like I said, man, it's super luxurious.
Yeah.
Like I've stayed in some pretty high-end hotels.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
This thing is awesome.
It's very awesome. Is it a nice
just
hotel?
from a customer service point of view?
Yes. Are you well taken care of? I can't think of another setting in my life where I've done something or paid for a service where I've been better taken care of than this experience.
I've been on cruises, and this is better than going on a cruise.
It's definitely more expensive.
I'm a beach guy.
It's definitely more expensive.
But you never realize that you're just in a building with no windows.
Not once from when we stepped on to the point to where we stepped off did I think, man, that's just a building with Star Wars stuff on the inside.
Yeah, that's not it.
The whole time I'm in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? What other characters can we meet? Oh, the Rhodian. Oh, look at that Rhodian. Look at the Twi'lek right there. There's other characters, other background aliens and stuff in costume aside from the main characters as well.
How about SK walking around all the time?
SK rolling around, and we even had a 501st
with them on your Magic Band
and R2 Builders Club guy who was asking us questions. Okay, well, what about the droid? There was probably someone with a big receiver just like walking right behind it, right?
Nope.
No, they were.
I only caught them one time
at a decent distance. Of course, their remote control was totally covered, and they were very subtle about their movements, keeping an eye on the kids, getting pictures, and playing with the droid, which you can interact with also. It has a Magic Band interface
scanner
on it. I mean, even the droid was on point. There was just when you're on the bridge, you can feel the vibrations, the hum, and you can hear a slight
When you're on
hum.
the bridge, it feels like you're on a ride.
Yeah.
It feels like
moving.
a ride arcade hybrid.
Yeah, it feels like it's moving, and doing the stuff on the bridge is fun too. All in all, the experience is awesome. I hope that the takeaway from this is, after watching this video and some of our other content, that maybe it is a little bit more worth it than you initially thought. If you don't think it's any more worth it, then you don't think it's any more worth it. But I hope that that your takeaway from our content is, okay, these are guys who just went for free. Why should I listen to them? Because I hope that we adequately broke down this all the pricing, why we think it was worth it, and where it could get better, because there's definitely room for improvement. And also, we see room where this could grow into other things. We see where this could grow into a multi-era experience, because this has been a ship in canon that has existed since the era of the High Republic. On the
That's
voyage
why
you
it
go
looks
on,
different. It looks different because it was built in the High
it
Republic.
was built almost 300 years prior to Star Wars.
Anything that is High Republic was designed based off of this ship, or the other way around.
So, and there's physical props and story elements there, and there's a companion comic, which issue 2 is coming out a day after we recorded this video. That better, cements where this takes place in canon. There's stories in the first issue that bring other characters from previous canons back into canon, and we just get to see some highlights with this comic as to some of the other stories that take place throughout the huge Star Wars storyline.
There's room for extreme growth, especially with the way you guys wrote into the story, wrote it into canon, and established that this is the 275th anniversary.
Indeed, it is.
And of course, the companion comic for Halcyon Legacy is out on shelves now. Issue 1 is out. There's more to come. And it's a multi-era story. It seems like there's room for growth in multi-era settings. Maybe not now. Maybe not in 5 years. But it seems like the Halcyon has a long life ahead of itself for Walt Disney World Resort.
That is actually the thing that I love about Star Wars, is that the galaxy ties together, right? We're within a part of the storyline. We're visiting a certain number of planets during the voyage that we're on our 275th anniversary cruise, indeed. But the Halcyon has lived a whole set of lives, and as you said, we're already starting to see some of those other stories. In addition to, publishing recently announced that Han and Leia, I understand, may have honeymooned aboard.
Apparently they did. I did hear something about that, and who knows? Keeping with that theme and with the room to grow and multi-era, cruises possibly on the horizon, maybe there's room for a 250th voyage or a 200th voyage or so on and so forth going down the line, since we've got all this time to work with in the future. And
there's a lot to explore, and I think at Imagineering we're always exploring new ideas and new possibilities, and it'll be exciting to see what happens next.
All I'm saying is, because it looks, the reason it looks how it looks is so that any era of Star Wars
can fit within
it.
But also, it's not so outside of Star Wars design like some were making it out to be. There's actually a lot
of those pictures that people saw, they were taken before construction was done.
Right.
They were taken in between projects.
Right.
And they do not show the full scope of what everything is.
Right. And there are a lot of elements you can kind of see that combine into the overall design of this that help paint that picture of, oh yeah, this is totally in Star Wars. I not once did I think, well, that doesn't look very Star Wars at all.
Yeah, never.
Mm-mm.
I even say it in one of our videos, the only time that I was taken out of it
on board the ship
is when we're walking down the stairwell.
Yeah, and I can see that, but
it's just a great stairwell.
Right. They didn't like panel it up and stuff. I feel like the stairwell could have had a little bit more work done, but I mean, they must have had a lot to do in between, when we went in February and when they were still working on it in December. So
right.
I have a feeling it's something they could improve somewhere down the line.
And I don't think they're ever going to stop working on it.
No. And like we were saying, it definitely has the potential to have a story element setting in multi-era portions of Star Wars.
And that's just to reiterate, that's why it looks different, because you can't have a prequel era story on board a cruiser
That's set in the sequel era.
That is set in the sequel era. Right. That's why it looks different. So
it has to look different.
It has to predate any of the known stories.
It can't, and it doesn't have anything specifically on board that doesn't have anything on board that's a permanent fixture that ties it to any specific era or another.
Right.
So in some of our photos and stuff, you'll see First Order banners. Well, they just put those up and took those down within seconds. There's nothing physically keeping those there for any given point in time.
Or it's just a hologram.
Right, or it's just a hologram. So it has a lot of modularity to it, to where we can go on maybe 5 years from now and do a Clone Wars era version of it, because there are characters from the Clone Wars. If you've checked out that Halcyon comic, in issue 1, there's a flashback portion where this guy who's writing it with his granddaughter during the First Order era was there as a kid himself, and he's watching Anakin and Asajj Ventress fight on the thing. So
really,
yeah, it was really cool. It was a brief panel, but I mean,
there's
really cool.
nothing saying that Vader doesn't attack it at some point.
Right, and in fact, they make a point during the reign of the Empire. The Empire controlled it, and it was used for mostly Imperial officers and dignitaries at the time. So there's a lot of potential for growth here, especially for those who are just not sold on it because it's sequel trilogy era. I get that. There's a lot of fans out there who want nothing to do with the sequel trilogy, and that's part of where they're coming from, as they don't want anything to do with it. I totally understand. I totally get that.
Take your time, watch how it plays out, because honestly, in my opinion, I don't think right this second, I don't think that there is a huge, I want to go back just so that my children can experience it. He wants to go back so that his wife and his family can experience it.
Mm-hmm. And so I can get that other story. I really want to do the Resistance Part 2.
So outside of the different story arcs that you can play, there's not a whole lot of return value or replay value, like if we're talking about a game.
It is a once in a lifetime experience.
Look at it as it stands right now, as almost a once in a lifetime experience, and it's priced that way. But I'm telling you right now, if you're not interested in sequel era stuff, just wait for the DLC, because I guarantee you it's coming
at some point. But again, though, that is just us being speculative. But
I would bet
it's within the realm of possibilities. And there you go.
So
overall, I liked it. Yeah, room for improvement, but there you go.
Room for improvement. But the stuff that I think needs to be improved,
it's just little things.
It's little things that were honestly probably fixed before they even let the first paid guest
come on board.
Some
of it, for sure. Yeah.
So
we hope you enjoyed this content. We hope maybe this helped clear the air on a lot of things regarding the Halcyon Starcruiser experience. And we hope that you stay tuned for more rebelscum.com content. Check out the website daily, guys, for all kinds of new content. There's news, articles, videos like this one, and toy reviews and celebrity interviews, all kinds of stuff. Make sure you're checking daily. In case there's stuff you missed, well, you can go to our YouTube channel, and if you don't want to miss other stuff, turn on notifications and subscribe to us so that you can get those notifications, so you will know when videos like this or others go up. Make sure you go to rebelscumshop.com, because there's all kinds of awesome exclusive merch there. And that's it for today. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. May the Force be with all of you, you Rebel Scum.